For the first time ever on the internet, I used a hashtag earlier this morning. Um, I've got to admit, out of all of the things, I always thought that it would have been something a lot more personal, like the Boston Marathon or the Bruins, or something other thing that would drive me to use a hashtag for the first time ever. Nope. Instead, CNN gets that distinct honor. When I woke up this morning, about an hour and a half ago, I turned on the TV to find CNN was giving a self-professed a well, I shouldn't say self-professed, but pretty much, to make a long story short, they were giving a unapologetic racist and bigot airtime to spread his propaganda. I'm not going to say his name is out loud because it's my policy not to give folks who really don't need that kind of attention. I have a policy of not using their names both in my blogs and on my videos. But anyway, I only let the TV on for 5 seconds before I change the channel and shut off the TV, because the most effective way to combat people that want to feed the unsuspecting with their propaganda is to just not listen to them. That's the most effective way to deal with these kinds of people. And I'm pretty sure that there are some of you that feel that way about me with some of the things that I've done or said on one of my blogs or something. But anyway, I shut that off, and then I made some comments on that regarding that on Facebook using the hashtag keeping CNN honest. I think I touched on this in another video I recorded earlier today, but CNN's got a real problem with focusing a lot of time on things that don't really focusing a lot of times on a lot of foolishness. I mean, I'm not saying that what happened with that missing plane is foolishness, but the fact that they're spending a lot of time on this and hasn't been anything new or substantial since it disappeared is to me, that's a sign that you need to move on to other stuff. And even though they were called out even though they were making fun of the other competition that called them out on it, um, for me, that's just like that should have been their hint for them to pretty much take their hint and then suddenly go on other things while still keeping a reporter on the ground to at least keep the network informed, so that when something substantial like Richard Quest's interview with Malaysia's prime minister, you could immediately just go back there without having to send someone halfway across the world again. Like the coverage of what's happened in South Korea is like an example of something good that they should spend a lot of time on, because that is something that people around the world can connect to in terms of an obvious case of incompetence that led to the needless deaths of almost 300 people. I mean, that's an example of something that they could spend a lot of time on in terms of regards to international stuff. Another example is that Ebola outbreak and that Sanjay Gupta has been spending a lot of time on. A lot of people might ask the question, why are they even giving airtime for something that's in a remote part of the world? Well, the reason that there hasn't been a worldwide epidemic in almost 100 years now is because they are keeping the public informed, and they are taking steps to keep it from happening. Well, I will be the first to admit the world is well overdue for another worldwide pandemic. Knowledge is power, and knowing about it helps to contain this kind of thing from getting all over the world. At the same time, I just think it's time to move on to other things in that regard. In terms of national news, I mean, CNN isn't the only network that's guilty of this, but seems to be a obsession, and they've convinced the general public of this. Not just CNN in this what I'm about to say, but there's an obsession with making Hillary Clinton being the next presidential candidate. And this is where CNN betrays its political alignment pretty much every single time. For those that are not politically savvy, the three major networks, that being CNN, Fox, and MSNBC, swing one of three ways, or in the case of swing one of two ways, or in the case of CNN, They swing both ways. Fox News leans to the right, MSNBC leans to the left, and CNN, though they claim that they're impartial, they are very leftist and very liberal, which is pretty arrogant in that regard. But anyway, it is what it is. And it's pretty annoying where they try to play both sides of the field, and they've been called on about it repeatedly, not just by Fox News and MSNBC, but other educated young people that see them for what they really are in that regard. And I'm not going to spill it out because that's something because that's not my particular field of expertise. But even though I'm not really into the whole political conspiracy thing, I can at least see that much on my own, based on my own observations. Pretty much, if I want to know anything, pretty much, I'm not really interested in. I'm really turned off by national politics anyway. For me, the politics that matter more to me are the local and state level politics, because those are much more immediate, and those I'm going to feel the effects of those a lot sooner than I will things on the national stage. I mean, for local things, I usually watch the local networks just to keep myself informed. I go to meetings on things that are going on. For example, I'm glad I kept it. The proposed fare hike for the MBTA. Bam. I've actually known about this for almost a year now. Yeah, the fare is going up again. Hashtag. Where's the outrage on the where's the MBTA? Hashtag where's the outrage MBTA? Yeah, pretty much. If you didn't know before, well, now you do. Interesting. Aside from the obvious, Massachusetts still doesn't have the highest fares in the country. You know, it's getting pretty. It seems like it's in a competition with New York, Baltimore, and Chicago to reach that platform. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm going to continue to talk about things that are relevant to people, or what I deem relevant to what I'm into that are relevant to what I think should be talked about on my blogs. And in the very unlikely event that I become a multimillionaire overnight or something, I'm going to start a news network that only focuses on actual news. Instead of doing the whole ratings grab thing, even if it's just for a year. That's pretty much what I envision that I'm going to do when I have the means and the resources, where I'm just going to really talk about things that actually make sense and are consistent, or better yet, maybe even after the cameras leave. Yes, I know it's pretty crazy and it doesn't make a lot of sense, or it's just one of those things that'll probably never happen. But you know, I figure if even saying that out loud inspires someone else to do it, I've done my job. As someone who posts things on YouTube and WordPress using their own face and name, I figure I have an obligation to be transparent with it at the very least, which is a lot more than it can be said for a lot of these multi-million-dollar news outlets all over the world. But hey, that's just me. Just like with TV, you do have the you can stop the video anytime. But I figure if you've been listening to me monologue for I'd say about close to 30 minutes now total, I figure you have your own reasons for listening to this guy, that seems to have nothing better to do than to just talk and talk and talk. But anyway, I'm gonna just leave it like there and repeat again, hashtag keeping CNN honest. Find something more productive to talk about. If anyone from CNN would like to do a follow-up on me, you're more than welcome to do that. My contact information is in the video description. Everybody else out there, this is Yorbold signing off, saying have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in another video podcast.